Hello everybody, welcome to another Conflict of Nations video. In this video, I'm gonna go over the infantry units so that you can choose what you want to research with a little bit more of information. So the first one is motorized infantry, which in my opinion is probably the go-to unless you really want to do something specific or you want to focus on a different type of gameplay. But motorized infantry is a great, well-rounded unit. Let's just look at the maxed one so we can get a better feel of the stats. It is a defensive unit because, as you can see, all the defensive stats are better than the attacking ones. Which means if you run into a same unit, the same level, if you're not defending, you're gonna lose. So if you are gonna take down an enemy stack, you probably don't want to attack it with this. However, you could wait for him to use your defensive stats, especially if you do it in cities. As you can see in urban and suburban and forest, you get a buffer of 25%. So this 8 becomes probably around 10. And then this also is increased. As you can see, you do more damage to soft targets, and you get a little bit, probably not, basically nothing, of damage against jets and bombers, and as well to helicopters. Not all too much, so you probably want to defend it with something else. Lastly, when you are in second to last level, when you get to day 22, at least in the European doctrine, you get mortars, which means you can attack from a distance. So you can clear, let's say rogue, you can clear or any player unit from a range, from a distance, so you don't get any damage. So yeah, that's basically it for motorized infantry. Overall, don't attack with it unless it's from a distance. Okay, next we have mechanized infantry, which is similar but not the same. You get it's a little bit stronger. You also get more hit points. You get 35 hit points. With the motorized, you get 25, so you get more health and you do more damage. However, it costs more of these two, and then it also takes a level 2 army base versus a level 1 with the motorized. So it's a better unit, it's a little bit more expensive, and you don't get mortars. Next we get naval infantry, which are the Marines. It is, in my opinion, too expensive. Too expensive, and then it also requires, the requirements are an Army 2, Army level 2 base, and Naval base level 2. So you need to have a coast to have these. The only time I've done these is when I'm New Zealand or let's say Cuba, because I have ports to use, but at the same time, level 2 for these is quite expensive. In my opinion, it's not worth unless you really want to toy around with it. The Marines are an offensive unit. As you can see, you get more attack on soft and armor targets, and then the buffers are also different. You get a buffer in urban and suburban, and when defending in the forest. Everything else is going to be a handicap. The amphibious ability, it's the one that sets it apart. You don't need a port to disembark in enemy territory or yours. You can do it in, let's say, what am I moving? Yeah, if you don't want to attack Italy, with regular units you can just enter through here, but with Marines you can enter here, wherever. And then also it's good for rivers. So here you could cross from here to here instead of looping around. That is all there is to it. To Marines. Airborne infantry. It's also offensive. Where are the stats? Let's go to the max one. The stats, as you can see, favor attack. But what sets this unit apart is the air assault. Some units have air assault, which basically is to move, you don't need to walk. You just get on a helicopter and you get there much faster. So if you are conquering, let's say, provinces that are jungle, mountain, or tundra, you do move much faster because you don't get the slower movement. But the caveat is that you need to have an airfield or airport in range that you can use. If you go somewhere and then your airfield that put that territory in range, if that airfield is destroyed, then you have to walk, and these units are very slow walkers. As you can see, is 0.2 for everything. So keep that in mind. Protect your airfields and airports. You need an army base level 1 and air base level 2. So similar to Marines, you need good buildings to get these going. The other difference with Marines, Airborne, and what's the other one? And Special Forces is that you need to mobilize them with components and electronics versus supplies and components with motorized, mechanized, and National Guard. Okay, next we have Special Forces, which get the ability of... So they get the ability of amphibious, just like Marines, and they also get 2 air assault, like Airborne. They are quite strong attacking. They're an offensive unit, but they also do okay defending. They have stealth, which means if you're walking through enemy territory, they cannot see you unless they have a unit that counters stealth, such as combat recon, UAV, and I think that's it. Next is the one downside to this, people. Where is it? Here, they cannot conquer. So you need National Guard, motorized, mechanized, whatever, to conquer province or a city. These guys cannot do it. And as you can see, they are expensive. They take 1,600 components and 800 electronics. Next, we have the National Guard. My, let's say, second favorite unit after motorized. Let's see. So these guys are a defensive unit. They are very weak attacking, so even more so than motorized, do not use these guys for offense. These guys are basically just I use them to conquer empty provinces, empty cities, and then hold them so that rogue doesn't pop up when it's smoking. And lastly, as bait, if you want to lure an attack, let's say you want to lure enemy jets to attack you, and you happen to have SAMs nearby that are not visible, but they see the National Guard, that's a legitimate strategy that I use all the time. If you have to use these guys in actual combat against enemy units, I would say wait for them in a city or a suburb, so you get this buff. Other than that, you really have no chance of doing anything with these guys in combat. They're gonna die. They're very cheap to mobilize, as you can see, and they're very fast to mobilize as well. You only need a recruiting office level 1 to do them, so you need even less so than for motorized. Okay, next we have mercenary. Mercenary, I don't use all too much. These guys are mobilized in provinces. If you put a mercenary outpost, you can get these guys going. This is usually done late game when you have a lot of manpower and a lot of money, because that's all it takes to get these guys rolling. And their upkeep does tend to add up, so keep that in mind. Manpower tends to be slash when you have a lot of these. Also, these guys do not conquer. Yeah, and that's about it. And they are an offensive unit, as you can see. They don't do very well even against rogue, from my experience. And that is all we have for infantry units.